and to our public in the gallery and watching at home or on their devices. Pursuant to the authority vested in me under Public Law 17-22, the Chair calls this first day, third regular session of the 19th Cinema Youth Congress to order. Before we start everything, I would first like to recognize the House Floor Leader, Ed Probst, for attending. Thank you so much for being here. Now let us rise for a moment of prayer, and I also ask that all of us keep in our hearts the youth and the citizens of Hawaii that were affected by the aftermath of recent wildfires in Maui, and especially those who lost their lives in the disaster and for other intentions. Thank you. Clerk, feel free to call the roll.
Senator Bayot,
Present.
Senator Cabrera,
Present.
Senator Calvo,
Present.
Senator Jacopo,
Present.
Senator Palacios,
Present.
Senator Peter, Senator Yumo,
Gaya.
Mr. Speaker.
Gaya.
Mr. Speaker, 7 members are present, 1 member is absent.
Thank you, Clerk. With 7 members present, we have a quorum to conduct business. Please note that the floor leader, Miley Peter, is hereby excused from today's session, and with that being said, and without objection, I hereby appoint Senator Aiden Yumo to serve as the floor leader pro tem this morning.
No objection.
Thank you, colleagues. Before we proceed further, I recognize floor leader pro tem for the first motion of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before we proceed with today's agenda and without objection from the members, I would like to move that we amend today's agenda to include additional communications and legislation which did not meet the deadline for inclusion in today's order of business.
No
objection.
Floor pro tem, just please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. At this time, I move to suspend Rule 3, Section 5 to include any and all communications and legislation not placed on the agenda prior to the posting of the official notice. Those items to be added are Youth Congress Resolution 19-4 and Youth Congress Resolution 19-5. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Second.
A motion was made to suspend Rule 3, Section 5, and has been seconded. Discussion on the motion?
Ready.
Ready.
If none, clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Bayot,
Yes.
Senator Cabrera,
Yes.
Senator Calvo,
Yes.
Senator Jacopo,
Yes.
Senator Palacios,
Yes.
Senator Yumo.
Hungan.
Mr. Speaker,
Hungan.
Mr. Speaker, 7 members voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With 7 members voting in the affirmative, the motion to suspend the rule carries. We now move down to item 2 on our order of business, and I recognize the floor leader pro tem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 2, we have one journal up for adoption, that is Youth Congress Journal 19-1, the journal from our organizational session. Mr. Speaker, I move for its adoption.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, floor pro tem. It's been moved and seconded that Youth Congress Journal 19-1 be adopted by the body. Discussion on the motion?
Ready.
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 All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Youth Congress Journal 19-1 is hereby adopted. We move to item 3, public comments. The floor is now open for any member of the public seated in the gallery to offer comments on today's agenda. Please limit your statements to 5 minutes, and as a reminder, anything stated within your testimony not relating to today's agenda will be struck from the record, and the podium is now open. If there are no comments, we continue. So we move down to item 4, introduction of bills. Due to the suspension of the rules, any and all members with bills not listed in today's order of business can introduce them in this part. We will begin with the bills listed on the agenda, and with that, I recognize Senator Yumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At this time, I hereby introduce Youth Congress Resolution 19-1 to require all public schools within the CNMI, elementary, middle, and high schools to teach at least one full year of the Chamorro and or Carolinian languages and for other purposes. Coming into the Youth Congress, I had one main goal, which was to protect the culture and language of our islands. So I strongly believe that if this bill is signed into law, it would help preserve our language a lot. This is introduced by myself, and I welcome any and all co-sponsors. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Floor Pro Tem. Youth Congress Bill 19-1 will be referred to the Committee on Education. At this time, I would like to recognize Senator Calvo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hereby introduce Youth Congress Bill 90-02 to establish the Youth Community Gardens on the islands of Rota, Tinian, and Saipan. I also offer companion legislation to 19-02, that is Youth Congress Bill 19-03, to amend 4 CMC Section 1402 to increase the excise tax under 4 CMC Section 1402A3 to fund the youth community gardens. Now, agriculture has been and continues to be a large part of the CNMI's economy, and the Youth Community Gardens would be an agricultural program that is open to the public but targets and is primarily maintained by the youth community. Through this, young individuals can create, maintain, and learn from a community garden, where they can witness firsthand the importance of agriculture and the value of the industry to promote life skills, healthy eating, lifestyle behaviors. It allows students to experience what it means to contribute to their community and their economy. It teaches entrepreneurship and introduces the youth to the export market. And it really brings us back to our culture of farming. In addition to that, the Youth Congress Bill 19-03, instead of appropriating money from the government, it is a revenue-generating bill that can support the program beyond our term. Now, I introduce myself and welcome any and all co-sponsors. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Calvo. Youth Congress Bill 19-2 will be referred to the RADT Committee, and 19-3 will be referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. I also ask the chairpersons of these committees to act diligently on disposing of these bills in the committee, and is there anything else under item 4? If none, we move on to item 5. Under introduction of resolutions, just as in item 4, any members who have resolutions to introduce that did not make the deadline for the agenda can do so at this time. We will begin with the resolution pre-filed, and for that, I recognize Floor Leader Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At this time, I hereby introduce Youth Congress Commemorative Resolution 19-1, remembering the late Honorable Candido Babalta Taman for his legacy of Chamorro and Carolinian music and his desire to protect the culture and language of the Marianas. Introduced by myself, and if there are no other objections, I ask that this be placed on today's calendar for adoption as a committee as a whole.
No objection.
Thank you, Floor Pro Tem. As there may be additional resolutions introduced today, we will defer the request for the motion to place the resolution on calendar until all resolutions are introduced. Thank you. Anything further under item 5? I would like to recognize Senator Cabrera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hereby introduce Youth Congress Resolution 19-4, commending the 19th Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Islands Youth Congress on their first successful youth program, the 2023 Youth Summer Sports Splits, introduced by myself. And if I may continue, Mr. Speaker,
Yes, you may.
I will also introduce at this time the Youth Congress Resolution 19-5, relative to recognizing the delegates of the Diocese of Chalancanoa to the 2023 World Youth Day, held from August 1st to August 6, 2023, in Lisbon, Portugal. I introduced by myself and Senator Palacios, and without objection, I would like to ask for these to be placed on today's calendar for adoption as the committee of the whole.
No
No
objection.
objection.
Thank you, colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I yield.
Thank you, Senator. There are 3 resolutions read into the agenda today, with both movers requesting that they be placed on calendar for action. For that, I would like to recognize Mr. Floor Leader Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to offer a motion to place Youth Congress Commemorative Resolution 19-1 and Youth Congress Resolutions 19-4 and 19-5 on today's calendar for action. So move.
Second.
Thank you, Floor Pro Tem. It has been moved and seconded that Youth Congress Commemorative Resolution 19-1 and Youth Congress Resolutions 19-4 and 5 be placed on today's resolution calendar for action. Discussion on the motion?
Ready.
Ready.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. The resolutions are hereby placed on the calendar for the action today. We now move on to item 6, Youth Congress Communications. Floor Pro Tem, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have one item under item 6, and that is Youth Congress Communication 19-1.
Thank you, Floor Pro Tem. And looking at our order of business with none under item 7 to 10, we move down to item 11. Floor Pro Tem, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have two items under item 11, and there are other communications 19-1 and 19-2.
Thank you, Floor Pro Tem. With none under items 12 to 13, we move down to item number 14. I recognize Senator Yumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have three resolutions on calendar for action today. The first being Youth Congress Commemorative Resolution 19-1, remembering the late Honorable Candido Babalta Taman for his legacy of Chamorro and Carolinian music and his desire to protect the culture and language of the Marianas. I move for its adoption.
Second.
I would just like to call a short recess. We have come back from recess, and Youth Congress Commemorative Resolution 19-1 has been moved and seconded. The Youth Congress Commemorative Resolution 19-1 be adopted by the Youth Congress. Discussion on the motion.
Ready.
Ready.
If none, clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Bayut,
Yes.
Senator Cabrera,
Yes.
Senator Calvo,
Yes.
Senator Acapo,
Yes.
Senator Palacios,
Yes.
Senator Yumo.
Hungan.
Mr. Speaker,
I'm good.
7 members voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. We have 7 members voting in the affirmative. Youth Congress Commemorative Resolution 19-1 is hereby adopted. Floor, I recognize you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The second resolution on today's calendar for action is Youth Congress Resolution 19-4, commending the 19th Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands Youth Congress on their first successful youth program, the 2023 Youth Summer Sports Blitz. I move for its adoption.
Second.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that Youth Congress Resolution 19-4 be adopted by the Youth Congress. Discussion on the motion.
Ready.
Yes.
Just recognize me.
I recognize Council.
Did you guys read the resolution? Page 2, turn to page 2. Lines 9 to 11. Resolution 1904, page 2, lines 9 to 11. Is it okay? It says, now therefore be resolved by the 19th Commonwealth Youth Congress, the Youth Congress, semicolon, and sounds like I think it's the next whereas provision that should be Seems like something's missing. So it's at this part, somebody should move to amend this part. So it should read that the Youth Congress hereby commends the 19th Commonwealth North Youth Congress on their first successful youth program or something. Something similar to the title. Doesn't have to be exactly like that, but something similar.
I would like to call short recess. We are back from recess. Um, we are under our resolution calendar for Youth Congress Resolution 19-4. Is there any discussion on the motion? I recognize Senator Cabrera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hereby make the following floor amendment to Youth Congress Resolution 19-4 to amend on page 2, lines 9 to 11 to read as follows. Now therefore, be it resolved by the 19th Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands Youth Congress that the Youth Congress recognizes the success of the 2023 Youth Summer Sports Blitz. And on the same page, to delete 12 to 15. Consistent with the intent of the foregoing amendments, I hereby also move to allow the legal counsel together with the clerk to make further non-substantive technical amendments that are strictly necessary to effectuate the intent of this floor amendments prior to transmittal. So moved.
Second.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We now move back to the main motion, and for this, I recognize Floor Leader Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move to adopt Youth Congress Resolution 19-4, Draft 1. So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that Youth Congress Resolution 19-4, Draft 1 be adopted by the Youth Congress. Discussion on the motion.
Ready.
Ready.
If none, clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Bayot,
Yes.
Senator Cabrera,
Yes.
Senator Calvo,
Yes.
Senator Aikopo,
Yes.
Senator Palacios,
Yes.
Senator Yumo,
Ungan.
Mr. Speaker.
Again.
Mr. Speaker, 7 members voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With 7 members voting in the affirmative, Youth Congress Resolution 19-4, Draft 1 is hereby adopted. I recognize the Floor Leader Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our last resolution on calendar for action today is Youth Congress Resolution 19-5 relative to recognizing the delegates of the Diocese of Talancanoa to the 2023 World Youth Day, held from August 1st to August 6, 2023 in Lisbon, Portugal. I move for its adoption.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the Youth Congress Resolution 19-5 be adopted by the Youth Congress. Discussion on the motion.
Ready.
Okay, if
Ready.
none, clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Bayot,
Ready. Oh, yes. Sorry.
Senator Cabrera,
Yes.
Senator Calvo,
Yes.
Senator Aikopo,
Yes.
Senator Palacios,
Yes.
Senator Yumo,
Ungan.
Mr. Speaker.
Again.
Mr. Speaker, 7 members voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With 7 members voting yes, Youth Congress Resolution 19-5 is hereby adopted. I recognize Floor Leader Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With none under bill calendar, that takes care of all legislation requiring our attention and action today.
Thank you, Floor Pro Tem. With that, we move down to item 16, miscellaneous business. Is anybody? I recognize Senator Jacopo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From July 24th to the 29th, we held our very own youth program, the Youth Summer Sports Blitz, including 3 main sports, track and field, soccer, and volleyball, along with various activities. We had about 350 participants from ages 10 to 17 located at the Oleai Sports Complex. I am very thankful and humbled by its resounding success. I want to thank our speaker and my colleagues and our Youth Congress clerk, LJ Castro. Thank you all for your support. Without you guys' help, it would not have been this successful. I also want to thank our main sponsor, the Saipan Mayor's Office, Ramon R.B. Komatsu, and the many numerous generous sponsors as well, coaches, volunteers, and I want to thank as well my parents and my brothers. Without their support, In my ambitions of creating the sports program, it would not have been possible. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Senator Jacopo. Anything further under miscellaneous? I recognize Vice Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'd like to congratulate Marianas High School Dolphin Pride Club on hosting their first annual Rainbow Prom. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Yumo.
To the Committee of Education, I plan to meet with Dr. Ada, Mr. Barcinas again, also with the Carolinian Affairs Office and their task force to learn about what the task force is, what they're gonna do, what's their plans, how it's gonna work, and we're also gonna have several meetings with them just to check the status because I believe that us and PSS we have to agree with the bill, and we have to both PSS and the Youth Congress have to be happy with this bill before we can pass it. So thank you. I yield, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Yumo. One thing I also would like to add is, as all of you guys know, we are starting our planning for our youth summit, which is coming up. So I just would like to tell all of you that, of course, you already know, but we do need to continue meeting on that, and I hope to see all of you there in our future meetings for our summit. So hopefully it is successful. Is there anything else under miscellaneous? Okay. If none under miscellaneous, sorry. We now move down to announcements. Are there any announcements from the members? I recognize Senator Yumo.
I invite everybody to join us tomorrow for the Fiesta of San Roque Parish. And we have Mass at 9 a.m. and there is Novena at 8:30. So I hope to see you all. Viva San Roque.
Thank you, Senator. Are there any other announcements? I recognize Senator Calvo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. During our last session, I stated that I would announce any news pertaining to the RHI basketball court, and I am happy to report that construction of the basketball court has started. So I hope that if it hasn't already been completed, that it will be soon after the start of the year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. One announcement that I would also like to make is just to welcome everybody back to school, our private school students, public school students, all students that go to school. Just welcome back. I hope everyone's school year is amazing. And yeah, are there any other announcements? Okay. There being none, we move down to item 19. And at this time, I would like to recognize the floor leader pro tem for the proper motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At this time, I make a motion to adjourn today's session, subject to the call of the chair.
Second.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to adjourn this morning's session. Any discussion on the motion?
Ready?
Ready.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, and the third regular session of the 19th CNMI Youth Congress is hereby adjourned. Sizos Masis and Gilso, everybody. Have a good day.